One, you killed everyone. The bikers, the cartels, the Kitchen Irish, they're all gone.
Yeah, almost.
I get it. An eye for an eye and all that. I got a family of my own.
I don't.
For God's sake, man, killing me is not going to bring yours back. What does it change if I'm dead?
Nothing.
I got some shit face the night before.
Oh, God.
Jeez. You believe that?
Get a room, you dirty bastards.
Hi, I'm Mark Kirkman. Welcome to Panels to Pixels, a podcast about comic books that were turned into movies and TV shows. We will talk about the new shows, old shows, and all the movies that have come out in all forms, whether it be cartoons, movies, or TV shows. They could be older, current, or the current scene that has captivated us for the past 10 years, if not more. We will be talking about the new Netflix show, The Punisher, for the next 13 episodes. I'll be hosting over the course of the podcast. I'll be bringing in friends of mine that want to guest host with me till I find a permanent host. I want to welcome my co-host tonight, Avellino.
Hello, everyone. Hi, this is Avellino. Most people call me Av as well, so Mark, feel free to do so. And
Cool.
Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate the honor of being the first co-host.
Not a problem. Tonight's talk is The Punisher Episode 1 entitled 3 a.m. So,
awesome.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about this, get an overview of what's going on this episode. So
Okay.
you have a little bit more insight, Av, so my suggestion?
Yeah,
Go away.
so thank you. So the Punisher series, standalone series that we're going to be talking about, or that Mark's going to be talking about for the next 13 episodes, is a continuation of an arc from the character Punisher that appeared in Daredevil Season 2. And in Season 2, the Punisher was, a primary guest star, let's put it that way. Though he actually had a pretty large role and his pretty much his own independent arc outside of Daredevil's. So this series is a standalone series in itself. You don't have to watch the Daredevil Season 2 to understand anything, but it does help to set up, some of his motivations and things like that. For those of you who have seen Season 2 of Daredevil, this series, from what I understand, takes place a number of months after those happenings, where he's concluding the war and the arc that he started in Daredevil Season 2. So it basically picks up with him killing off the last of his antagonists. And so that's pretty much it. And it leads into Episode 1, 3 a.m. for Season 1.
Do you know the actual first seeing of Punisher in the comics, Av?
Not that I can remember. I mean, are you talking about when he first appeared and kind of his origin story?
And no, just the first appearance of Punisher in comic books.
Oh yeah, actually I do. Yeah, I do. It's he first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 129, which was February 1974. And the reason why I know that is because I had that issue in my greedy little hands when I was, in 74, I would have been 9 years old. And so I had that actually in my hands. That was before I knew how valuable comics could be, or even before, obviously, how popular the character Punisher would be. So if I had preserved that issue and, in mint or near mint condition, it'd probably be worth thousands right now. But it's one of those things. It's kind of like letting an old girlfriend go that goes on to be a movie star, So, yeah.
I actually had that comic book at one point too, and I don't know if I still have it because I have a lot of Amazing Spider-Man comics because I started collecting and getting things at age 10.
Yeah.
So in 1982, I was, I was out there and getting Miller, baseball cards and comic books and getting comic books. So I do not know. I have to go through all my old comics. But it's amazing. We gotta love the Punisher as he was. Now, mind you, the Punisher we got in this Netflix series is not the one that we've seen in the comics.
Exactly.
The one looked like a onesie that had the big skull on it and had the slick back hair and there's been so many incarnations, and we'll go over that in other podcasts with other people. If you want to come back, you're more than welcome. But
definitely.
In this one, we're just going to concentrate on this episode itself. So we're going to go over a top 5.
Okay, well, I guess I'll start with the number 5, and then we'll go with yours, and we'll just keep going back and forth. But yeah, my number 5 of 5 was the Punisher's family. From in Daredevil season 2, and now in episode 1 of this season, the Punisher, Frank Castle, always brings back the memory of his family, his children, his wife. You can see him dreaming about his wife, dreaming about his children, speaking to them constantly, and so they are an ever-present. They're ever-present companions in his life. They're essentially his origin story, the reason for his being, and I'm not ruining anything. Because it is covered in this first episode, that the Punisher became the Punisher because his wife and children were murdered in front of him. At first, the people who murdered his family were a mystery, but then later on, he kind of, in Daredevil, he unravels a little bit more and more as to who actually did the murder, and then it continues in episode 1 now. But he's the family always shows up, like I said, when the Punisher is sleeping, or when he drifts off, or when he is in different scenes or different areas that remind him of his family. And so that's what I really like about this series, is that you're constantly reminded of why he's doing what he's doing, and it really grounds his motivation, and I think elevates the Punisher of the Netflix series into a believable character. So I really, really liked how they treated his family and made that very realistic in that respect.
I agree. My number 5 was Frank's memories of his wife and his son.
Okay. So pretty much we agreed, yeah.
We agree. It's pretty much the reflection of the life he had and him wanting, it's like a lot of it was revenge.
Yeah.
Based on that. And that's how this show has started.
Yeah.
Prior movies have other things going on. I think the only one that compares would be Thomas Jane's version, but
yes.
Honestly, I think Jon Bernthal is actually very good and well suited for this character.
Yeah.
So, what was your number 4?
Well, my number 4 was, we jump right in here. It was okay. So it was basically Lance and his crew, his construction crew. So again, just to kind of retread a little bit, the Punisher in the first 10 minutes or so has concluded all his revenge, or so he thinks, from what happened in Daredevil season 1, and after he concludes that battle or that war, whatever you decide to call it, he goes into hiding. He goes underground, and you see you see Frank Castle. Then he has burned his his old Punisher combat uniform, and he has now taken up in a construction crew, which is odd. He's all he's doing is he's taking a mallet and basically destructing a concrete wall, which is one of the weirdest things. I don't know how he gets paid to do that, because they have machines to do that. But yeah, that's what we see, in season 1, in episode 1, and it looks like he's still angry. He's still working through the bitterness and the revenge that he feels and things like that. But he seems to be in some sort of equilibrium. And he's at a place where he's not talking to any of his colleagues. He's not talking to any of his coworkers at all. And the coworkers find him to be really strange. And so this is where Lance comes in. Lance is the head of this construction crew that also dabbles in underworld, shenanigans, for lack of a better term. And because Frank keeps to himself, Lance is the typical bully where it's like, hey, if you're not talking to me, you're against me, and tries to, agitate Frank and pick a fight with him. And so episode 1 is a little strange in the fact that it's kind of a standalone episode in itself, almost a bottle episode, maybe reminding people of just Frank's anger or whatever. But because of Lance and the way he tries to screw around with Frank Castle, that almost seems to wake up a little bit of the demon in Frank again. But my question is, I don't know, Mark, when you saw it, if you were Lance, why would you ever try to pick a fight with a guy like Frank Castle? I mean, you would think that like anyone who can half read a person would know just to never even talk to a guy like that. You understand it? You know what I'm talking about?
I do, but the thing is, I think the way Lance, his character was trying to be the alpha male, and
that's true.
And he was in charge, and he sees Frank as somebody who doesn't say anything, and it just does his work, and just wants to do what he wants to do, and he can't control him. Frank is in that mindset that Lance doesn't know that he's going to be there just to do this, and it's a way for him to vent out his anger and his frustrations in life, and to be in that kind of solace. He's kind of alone in the world, and he wants to shut everybody out, which goes to my number 4, which is Frank was actually reaching out to his old friend Kurt at the group. So he actually does reach out to some people, which is awesome, because it's like he's trying to reach out from those in his past that know who he is, know what he had become and what he had done, but he only chooses to speak to those people in private. And Kurt's like the only one that we've seen so far, obviously in this episode. So my feeling is that I think Frank is at that point where it's like he just doesn't want to hurt the world and doesn't want the world to hurt him. Yeah. And he's just taking it out on buildings and doing what he's doing for his job, and then things come to change. So we see this in this episode, as I'm sure you're going to say in your number 3.
Well, like what you talked about, this is what I liked and what really added realism and a groundness to this whole series. Number 1, that Frank Castle needed a job to support himself. Like in the comic books, you saw Frank Castle, the Punisher, just mowing down bad guys, and he had an endless wealth of firearms and weapons and ammunition and everything like that. In this Punisher, he needed people. He needed, number 1, a job. He needed to earn money. He needed to get food in his belly. And then number 2, his relationship with Curtis, he needed to reach out, and And even though his contact with Curtis was limited, it still provided probably some sort of therapy, for Frank. And that's what I liked is, the Punisher wasn't just an island unto himself. He actually had relationships and people he could count on. And getting back to my number 5, what I mentioned before, obviously his family provided that for him beforehand, before they were killed. So those were all elements that really provided John Bernthal to make a character that was really fleshed out, yeah, all right, that's awesome. Yeah, with number 4.
Literally, it just humanizes him.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing in the comic books. Not to reflect on that too much, but in the comic books, he was just, as you first saw him, he was like a paid assassin or somebody going out there doing things. In this, he was pushed, he was used in Daredevil, and then on top of that, through Kingpin. And then next thing you know, he's trying to go out there to right the wrongs of his own life. Yeah. And now that he's done that, now this show comes out, and it shows that he's still struggling, even though in the very beginning of the show, you see him taking out all that's left of the cartel. Yeah. And you actually hear it and see it. In that bathroom. Yeah. The guy states it flat out. So he's doing everything that he needs to do for him, and now that that's all done, all he could do is deal with the struggles of living with what he knows, what he's been burdened with because of everything he's already done, and he's just existing. And it's hard for a man like that, especially somebody who suffers from PTSD.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That when you mentioned that bathroom scene, that criminal's name was Victor. That was probably one of the better lines in the episode, where Victor goes, "I got a family of my own," and the Punisher goes, "I don't." And so basically what's going to happen to Victor in the next 30 seconds. So.
Exactly.
But I like how we're comparing and contrasting the Punisher, the Netflix Punisher, to the comic book Punisher, because there are probably a lot of people, a lot of our listeners, that are going to be doing the same thing. I mean, there are going to be some people that are introduced to the Punisher for the first time by watching Netflix, but I would imagine there's a lot of people as well who have read the comic books and kind of are thinking a lot of the same things we are. So I think that's cool.
Well, this is pretty much opening up everybody to anything that is old and new. We could talk about Dolph Lundgren, we could talk about Thomas Jane, we could talk about the other actor who took him on the third movie. But, honestly, we're just concentrating on this, which is awesome. And then the comic book is in its own light, and it's honestly, the comic book character has changed over the past, 40 years. So, that's amazing. To me, honestly, I really enjoyed this particular show. So that was the point of actually starting with this. So what was your number 3? Yeah.
So my number 3 is Madani and Homeland Security in general. So Madani, Agent Madani is the female agent that we see for the first time in episode 1, and she is being transferred from, it looks like from Afghanistan, from some sort of posting in Afghanistan to the Homeland Security office in New York City. And so with her appearance that she's probably going to be some sort of important recurring character. She is investigating the death of a partner of hers that a partner that got killed in Afghanistan. I don't have the name of him right now, but anyhow, she's investigating her old partner in Afghanistan who was executed, and executed after being horrifically tortured and interrogated as a terrorist, wherein in truth this partner was actually a policeman, an Afghan policeman. And so you see her introduced for the first time. And I really liked her character because she was, she had a spine. She knew what she was after, and she had a really clear motivation in investigating the death of her partner. And you have a feeling that this investigation is going to lead into some sort of overlap with the Punisher himself, or possibly with the people that the Punisher killed or was in conflict with in the Daredevil episodes. So I really liked her character even from the beginning. I thought she was pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, I really appreciate her character. It's like she's really trying to pry into the ideas of the Punisher and what he is and what he's doing and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. My number 3 was Frank saving Donnie, the young guy that was at the construction site. It's like he knew that Donnie was a really good kid.
Yeah.
So, it's like he opened up a little bit and he kind of like was standoffish saying, thanks for the sandwich, this and that and the other. But this comes into later on into the episode where, wow, it's like, Donnie decides to get involved with the other guys. And, because something went wrong at the workshop.
Yeah.
At the workplace. And, and here we are.
Yes.
To me, honestly, it's like a good kid put in a position because he needs the money.
Yeah.
It's like working in Manhattan and doing all that stuff and living.
And he was taking care of his grandmother as well. I think he was paying for her meds and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah, and he was a good kid. So I think that Frank knew that when he saw him, and he thanked him, and he cared for the kid, but he didn't want the kid to get too close, because sometimes somebody like that is like, don't get close to me because I don't want anything bad to happen to you. So that was really my number 3, because honestly it showed the more human side of Frank eventually. And it's like and then part of what we love about our heroes or people that we read in comic books that do things for the little man, well, this is where Frank does it. So this episode kind of clearly states that when he goes out and does something for Donnie. And we'll go into that a little bit more a little later. But do you have a number 2?
Yes, I do, actually. And your number 3 leads directly into my number 2. And that's the construction site fight, the fight between the Punisher and Lance and his crew to help protect Donnie himself. This fight was brutal. This fight was visceral. This fight was real. You felt every bone crunch, and you saw the drops of blood, and this fight was pure Punisher. This was, being an old Punisher fan, this is what I remember when I was reading the comic books, the kind of action scenes that, really got you just both disgusted and excited at the same time, because the Punisher is, I think, is like very few other Marvel Universe let's call them heroes. I don't know if we call them superheroes or heroes or whatever, in the fact that, he's a normal man. He has normal strength and everything like that, but, he has an inner fortitude and an inner just devil that, will just tear, his opponents apart. And the way he took down, these three thugs was with a sledgehammer was just totally brutal. And this was the Punisher that I remember reading about when I was a kid.
Honestly, it's funny too, because it's like I remember as a little kid,
Yeah.
Punisher just came out and started shooting and doing all this stuff against all our heroes. He was the antagonist. He was the bad guy.
Yeah, he was the one that you would go, like, whereas heroes like Daredevil or Luke Cage or whomever, they would they pull their punches, they knock out the people, and tie them up and everything like that, and that was really cool. You could get behind that, but he was the one that would just mow through people. But essentially, he fought like a Marine, kind of took no prisoners, kind of approach. And understanding his background, which they talk about a lot in episode 1, him being a recon Marine and things like that, you understand why he basically kills instead of being killed. He pulls no punches in that respect. And that was, like I said, that whole scene was just all out, just so
Guttural.
Brutal. Yeah, guttural, exactly. Yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible that this is what I like about the Netflix series in general, is they go to these kind of places that are, sometimes a step beyond just normal cable or, paid for cable, things like that.
Yeah, a little bit no holds barred. And, that, which leads to mine, which number 2, which is taking out Lance with the sledgehammer and then burying them all in cement. I'm like, that is such an Italian thing to do. Kind of like a mafia kind of thing, kind of the cartel. And the thing was is that he took out his anger on what they were doing to this kid, and he knew that the kid was a good kid, and he just wanted to do right by him. So the one thing is not to give any sort of mercy to them, because he knew that they were going to leave this kid for dead. So honestly, it's like, to me, it's like, that's not the Punisher that we ever saw before. It showed heart, it showed courage and courageousness, and fending for the little person. Honestly, it's like, that's the one thing. They created a hero, but he's still an anti-hero because he, still goes to extremes. But the thing is that in the books in the very beginning, he was a very visceral. I'm here to do this because I'm getting paid. And now it's gotten to the point, it's like, okay, he doesn't have any superpowers. All he has is what he knows from the military. He knows how to read people. He knows how to go through and take out people. My feeling is that he's an awesome natural hero, something that we all look up to. And honestly, it's like, I look up to anybody that's in the military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. My nephew's in the Air Force now, and God bless him. My father was a Marine, and he didn't see battle. But the thing is, the one thing I don't want my nephew to see is battle. But, there's only so much you could protect with everything that's going on in this world.
And Frank's background was, he saw a lot of battle. I mean, he was a special operator, And but you're right, that mindset, the military mindset is, they train you, they invest in you, they make you into, a fighting machine. And a lot of the military has that no quit type of attitude, especially the Marines. And Frank Castle really displayed that in this episode, especially in that fight. And also too, even leading up to that fight, like earlier on when Lance was kind of picking on him and stuff like that, it was amazing how the show, the episode, just kind of brought up the tension and almost like turned up the boil on the Punisher, but didn't let it boil over until that final fight. And when it did, it was, like I said, it was pure 100% Punisher.
Yeah, well, especially when he went after the rest of the guys after the the card game and taking them out. Honestly, that was needed, but obviously he was stepping on people's toes at that point. So it kind of made him a mark at that point, not to use my own name. But so what was your number one?
So my number one is, I bet it's the same as your number one. That's what I'm guessing, is Jon Bernthal in general. His taking on this role, and he as an actor, in other words, taking on this role, because I can't say enough of how perfect Jon Bernthal really played the Punisher, played Frank Castle. In episode 1, it's all that I really could have asked for in the Punisher. I had seen all the Punisher movies with Dolph Lundgren and Thomas Jane, and I can't remember who the third guy was. There was a woodenness to all of their portrayals. The closest true was Thomas Jane, but even he didn't get it quite right. And Jon Bernthal, it's amazing. I mean, you and I have been watching him from, The Walking Dead, which we're both big fans of, to his other, roles in like Sicario and in Wind River and both roles big and small. And so this was probably his first leading man role, especially in the series. And I thought he played it perfectly. He played not only the physicality of the role, in the fact that he moved and he spoke like a Marine. He fought like a Marine, both with his gunplay and his martial arts. But that he also portrayed the Punisher as a very hurt, individual, someone who was recovering from, dare I say it, mental illness. I don't know what it was, whether it be depression or PTSD or a combination of all of those. But Jon Bernthal as an actor plays those roles really, really well. I would love to see him just, take a role that's out there, like, romantic comedy or whatever even, but as that kind of hurt kind of character, and also a character that you become empathetic with, even though he might be the antagonist, or in this case the protagonist, as the Punisher. He's still someone that you tend to be sympathetic to, even when he was Shane and he was kind of playing an asshole, as Shane started to be towards the end. You still had some sympathy for him, and you still hope that he could change, and become the good guy again. But yeah, Jon Bernthal is able to do that as an actor and bring those roles to life, and he did so, I thought, perfectly for the Punisher, and I'm so glad. I'm also speaking to his performance in Daredevil season 2, so I'm so glad they cast him in this role.
Same here. It's like, we got that whole idea of Shane, but I have to bring up John's other roles.
Mm-hmm.
He actually did comedy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did a comedy with Jason Ritter,
Oh, that's funny. I never saw that.
Early 2000s.
Okay.
And he can portray comedic role. I think he's really good. It's actually when he came on my radar. And when I saw him, and I saw him, when I first turned on, and, what was it, October 31st on in 2010 for The Walking Dead, and he was Shane.
Yeah.
He had that little zeal to him, within the character itself, with the jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But also the grudge match with Robert De Niro and Stallone. And
okay.
It was very dramatic, but it was very well done.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother actually loves that movie because she goes, "Who is that guy?" And I explained who it was, and she had no clue. And she was like, "He's gonna go far." I'm like,
"Okay."
I think, and then I said to her, I was like, "Yes, this is good."
Yeah.
He is a good comedic actor as well as a regular dramatic actor. And she goes, "Really?" Yeah. And then she started looking at everything that he's done.
Okay.
And, and like you said, Sicario and a couple others, but honestly, to me, the grudge match actually pointed out, it showed a more humanistic point of him, of being a son trying to reach out to a father that, and that whole movie was really interesting. And I think he played that character very well. I think he takes from every character that he does, Shane being one of them, being a mainstay, but going a little bit crazy for the Punisher. And on top of that, some of the comedic things, because if you binge watched like I did, you'll if you watch the whole Punisher series, you'll start to see some comedic things come out. Those are little things that he'll say, and it's not meant to be comedic, but it has that, I gotta laugh, In
other words, like his timing, his like comedic timing, and the way he delivers a line
exactly.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So to me, it's like he's Chris Hardwick actually interviewed him, and I heard it through the Nerdist podcast, and honestly, it was the most honest I have ever heard an actor be. And he's very, very nice. When I first met him, I was at a Walker Stalker Con.
Cool.
And it was when he just got signed as Punisher for Daredevil. And I said to him, "I can't wait for you to come out and this and that and the other. I think you're going to be perfect for this role." And obviously, he has been. Honestly, in my opinion, he's got the physical attributes because obviously he worked out for the role.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he knows the mindset, and he knows how to get into the mindset.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that comes from going to Russia and learning all theatrics and everything that he's done, because you got to listen to that podcast. Honestly, it was the most interesting podcast I listened to, and it got me through my workday. But he's a very, you could tell he's a very down-to-earth and very nice person. And, and he's very into his, his craft. I think this, if they re-up it for another Netflix, or they put him into another Netflix show, which I hope, this would be awesome. So.
Have you seen him in any of the live panels at the Walker Stalker cons that you attended?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's very humorous. Between him and Sarah Wayne Callies, they're very much good friends. He has a lot of respect for his all the people he's worked with. He loves them dearly, and he thinks of them as friends. He needs friends and family, and he loves going to those things, and he loves talking to the people. I can't wait for this weekend, because honestly, I have a photo op with him. So.
Oh, awesome! Good. Excellent. What was your number one?
My number one was honestly the justifiable violence at the card game,
Yeah.
based upon Donnie. His friend Donnie, who was gonna be, killed and thrown into cement, but he stopped, and he stopped Lance and the other guy to doing that. And honestly, it's like sometimes there's justifiable violence that has to be made because you have to protect the person that can't protect themselves.
Yep.
And somebody who's very honest and being pure in who they are. So, honestly, it's like the character became exactly who he was from the beginning, protecting the small person. He went overseas to do all these things, and
And actually, he started questioning that too. With what he brought that up with Curtis, that he was talking about how Afghanistan was different than his other postings. So that kind of probably previews the later episodes and what actions he might have taken over there that might have led to some stuff going on over here. I saw an interview with John Bernthal when he was, publicizing the Punisher series, and he was saying that the violence in this series was plot-driven. In other words, it forwarded the plot. It wasn't just gratuitous. Even though, for example, the scene that I talked about is my number 2 was very visceral and very bloody, it still, forwarded the plot, at least according to John. And I would tend to agree that the two heavily violent scenes in here, the one that you just mentioned with the, him going back to shooting all the mobsters, and also the him killing Lance and his crew, even though those are both bloody and kind of exciting to see as, from a vigilante standpoint. It also made sense to who the Punisher was and what the Punisher was trying to do. And that's another reason why I really love this show so much. Yeah.
I hope they put out the next season. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
It's like I'm just hoping that eventually it goes into Defenders, because that way he could help out, even though he's considered pretty much an anti-hero.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
My feeling is that he is a hero for those that need a hero.
Yeah.
And he can't even be a hero to himself.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those sad songs, and a lot of it, if you look, I know a few people that are in the military that actually look at this and go, I know how it feels. Because they had to do some bad things. And honestly, and then they want to do the right thing. And then you got those that suffer. Honestly, overseas and everything that's happened and all that, I just want the best for those guys. It's like you gotta love your vets. And you can't turn your back on them. They're good people.
The PTSD that you mentioned, that just kind of as a preview of one of your later episodes, you're going to be talking about that at length with Kristen, right? In some future time.
Kristen will probably, come on. She actually handed me something to ask John at a panel for this weekend. So
cool.
I'm gonna
nice.
Either I'm going to ask it or my niece will.
Okay, excellent.
Or my brother if he chooses to come with me.
This is the New York, New Jersey one, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
okay.
Walker Stalker, New York, New Jersey.
Cool.
So hopefully Mr. Jason from Walking Dead cast, who he does with Karen Morvay. I love that show.
Yeah, me too.
As much as you do.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be here, and neither would you at this
Correct.
point, unless the influence of them.
Yeah.
I love podcasting, and I love listening to it, and this is my first foray.
Good.
So my feeling is thank you, Jason. Thank you, Karen.
Yes.
Thank you, Rima and Sean.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you, Brian Malash.
Yes.
So thank you all for getting us into this, because I'm sure Av will come back on and talk at a later episode. So
I definitely will. Yeah, I definitely will.
But Kristen has a few ideas of herself, so that will be great. She wants to talk more about it, so be it.
Cool.
This is an open forum in a sense for us to actually talk, and she has some insight, which I agree with.
Good.
Next week's co-host will be Paik Allen.
Oh, awesome.
So Paik will be helping me on the next episode, which is episode 2 of Punisher on Netflix, which is called Two Dead Men. So that's what's going on with that.
Cool.
So this is awesome. We're looking to get at least all 13 episodes talked about, and specifics about each. So everybody who's listening, please keep listening. We want everybody to listen, and if you have any feedback, feel free to call or there's no call-in show yet, sorry. But we do have an email, and you could email us at panels2pixels1@gmail.com. And if you cannot email, then you could go to the Facebook page, which is Panels to Pixels, easily found on Facebook. Please leave any information that you have per this episode or any future episodes that you want to talk about. I'll gladly read them. My co-host will read them. We want more input. If you feel that you love the show and you want your words spoken, I will gladly read them, and so will my co-hosts. So please follow through, follow the Facebook page, and, email us. Give us some information. I love feedback.
That's great.
So the next thing I love to do is news of the week, and usually that's based upon comics, anything in TV shows or movies. Right now, not much is going on based upon the Netflix. We don't have any news for Punisher, honestly. The show dropped in mid-November. So, if a lot of you are a lot like me, binge watched it in 1 to 2 days. And you want to go back and you want to relive it or whatever. Some people are like, I don't want to relive that because it was so depressing. But the thing is, honestly, I love the idea of the Punisher. I love the concept and the idea. Like I said, he's an anti-hero, but he is a hero nonetheless, and he'll be in other Marvel Netflix shows I'm pretty sure of. I'm sure he's going to be on Daredevil and Defenders.
He has some unfinished business with the Kingpin, I think. So,
Oh, definitely.
Knock on wood. Yeah.
So, with this, we have news of the week. The only thing that came out that is really big is Guardians of the Galaxy trailer. Now, I love Guardians of the Galaxy. I love the original movie. I saw it when it came out that opening weekend, and it was amazing. So, and then on top of that, Guardians of the Galaxy came out on Blu-ray and digital DVD, digital media. So I've been watching that like crazy. Have you or no?
I saw it a couple of times after it got to iTunes finally. I have a 6-year-old, and so it's hard to get out to the movie theaters to see a movie while it's being released. But yeah, I did see it a few times on iTunes, and yeah, I loved it too. I love the first movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, and I like what they did with the second movie.
Yeah, the second movie actually opened up a little bit more, and you got to see more about Peter Quill. You understood and where everything was going, which leads me into the next one, which is Avengers: Infinity War. That trailer dropped. Now, that, you know, it's like I stated Guardians of the Galaxy trailer. It's not Guardians of the Galaxy trailer. It was Guardians of the Galaxy Media. Sorry. So basically, the trailer for Avengers: Infinity War dropped this week. Honestly, that's something that I want to see.
Yes. Yeah, me too.
You know, there's so many characters. Now, mind you, I would love to see the Defenders in it.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see Punisher in it.
I would love to see X-Men in it if that were possible too.
Well, Warner Brothers is working on something with Disney apparently, so we won't know until later on.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for that. If they do recast, they do recast. If not, whatever. You know, it's like Warner Brothers has already carved their little notch in that area because of the original X-Men movie that came out in, like, what, 99, 2000?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, you know, it's like, I just want to see a real Marvel-driven X-Men movie.
Yeah.
The only thing close to that we're going to get is New Mutants.
Mm-hmm.
And that is looking to be more like a horror movie.
Yeah.
But honestly, that makes more sense. So,
getting back to the Infinity War trailer, did you read that arc of comics when it was released, I think back in the 90s? Did you follow that?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Sadly enough, I'm back in the 90s. I was more into music.
Okay.
So I kind of like omitted anything comic books. So I occasionally went in, got a comic, X-Men, X Factor, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then kind of dwindled out over the years. So it wasn't up until about maybe 10 years ago that I started getting back into comics, just to read and catch up and see what's going on. And, you know, you love your typical, to me, Fantastic Four, X-Men.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is my ultimate favorite of all. I'm sorry.
Cool.
But Homecoming was the ultimate for me so far, and I love the Tobey Maguire movies, regardless of how cheesy some of it could be. But and I love Nick Hammond back in the 1970s because I grew up on Nick Hammond as Spider-Man.
Okay.
On the TV series and the old original movies like the Chinese Connection and everything else.
Yeah.
But you know, I started getting back into comics, and I never read that, and I picked up the graphic novel of Infinity Wars, and perused it, and I didn't really go through everything. Kind of like Old Man Logan, because now Logan, the movie Logan came out, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a really great depiction. I thought it was the best Wolverine movie that came out.
Cool.
Over the years. You know, I found it interesting to have the Silver Samurai in the second movie and then have the introduction for the first, but kind of got, you know, we're talking comic movies, so honestly, the ending of the Wolverine origins didn't really click with me. Yeah, I wasn't happy with it. I didn't like the Deadpool we got.
Okay.
I'm sure everybody else.
Right. Yeah.
But you know, it's like Warner Brothers and everything. Everything else is changing. So I'm hoping that Warner and Disney do come to some sort of agreement, kind of like Sony did.
Yeah. I hope so. Yeah.
And I hope that they do come with a new X-Men even if X-Men wasn't a main movie, if they brought them into something,
Yeah.
my ultimate as a kid, the kid inside me wants Secret Wars, and I want a Secret Wars. So that's just me.
When is the Infinity Wars movie due out anyway?
It's coming out in May.
May. Okay. All right.
May of 2018, and it's awesome.
And it's going to be a couple of movies, right? Like it'll arc over.
Originally, it was supposed to be 2 movies, so I do not know. From what they're posting and what they're showing and portraying is that it's this one movie, but we've already had 3 Iron Man. We had 3 Captain America.
Yeah.
Did we?
2. Yeah.
Yeah, we had.
3 Captain Americas. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 Captain Americas, 3 Iron Man. So we have 3 Avengers films coming out, and the 3rd one coming out in May. So unless they do an ultimate movie regarding like maybe the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Does Thanos get this thing? Does he get all the jewels for his gauntlet? And Yeah, I have a feeling that it probably will arc over at least 2 movies, if not 3. There just seems to be so many characters that they want to involve in this big battle that it's almost impossible to fit it all in even a 3-hour movie. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to it too. Yeah. I love Marvel and I love DC. I really want to go see Justice League. A lot of people have been telling me don't go see it, and to me, I want to be entertained. I still yet to see Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, yeah, actually, same with me. Yeah. Well, let me know when you see either Thor and or Justice League, and I'll see it around the same time. We can compare notes on the Zedhead Unites Facebook page then. So. Yeah,
definitely. It's like this weekend is going to be kind of busy, but hopefully Monday I could actually do something.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I'm looking to get out and do something and actually go see a movie. I work in retail, so obviously work is kind of hectic this time of the year.
Yeah, I can imagine. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, cool. Next up, the only other comic news that I could state and we could talk about is Doomsday Clock. I'm not a huge DC fan. I love Batman. I love Batman. I love Superman. I gotten the old Superman when they started redoing them in the early 90s. When they redid all of the whole Superman back then.
Yeah.
I read and I collected. I think I have 3 issues of the first printing of issue 1 of Watchmen.
Wow.
And then I have like maybe the next 2 or 3 in doubles. But Doomsday Clock is interesting for the fact that they actually take the Watchmen characters and put them into the DC superhero universe.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Yeah. So they have contact with, like, Batman and Superman and all that good stuff. So, oh, wow. That's incredible. Huh.
So my feeling is this is awesome. It's kind of like DC acknowledging their bastard child.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this was an adult comic for its time.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to talk about it, and then now it's like they made a great movie about it. Honestly, I love The Watchmen.
Yeah, cool.
I loved that movie when it came out. It's like a lot of people didn't understand it.
Yeah, it paid very good homage to the comic books. It followed the comics really, really well, and I think that the people that were disappointed in the movie were the people that would not have understood or would not have understood the comics originally. In other words, like, seeing very human superheroes, and and greedy superheroes and evil superheroes and all that, or self-serving superheroes. And that's probably where I think a lot of the problems, of the Watchers came from. But I think that I have a feeling, I haven't really talked about that movie with a lot of people, but I have a feeling that people who are big fans of the comic book series came away from the movie, thinking that it was pretty decent, paid pretty good honor to the comics.
Yeah, the movie did justice to the actual comics, in my feeling.
Yes.
All the visuals, everything that had happened. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's portrayal as the comedian was amazing. It's like a lot of people don't remember that. I remember that when I saw him come on screen. They said I was like, wait a minute, he was a comedian. And then, of course, I got family going, no, he was Denny in, Grey's Anatomy. Oh, okay, I don't know that. I watched maybe a few episodes. And then, then you had a lot of other actors in that were very good.
Yeah.
And then it was very good portrayals of those characters.
Yes, I thought so, yeah.
I think it's a very underrated movie still.
Yeah.
It's like, to me, it's one of my go-tos as far as Blu-rays. If I'm going to watch something, I was like, I want to watch something interesting.
And in the Watchmen, what was that one character's name? The guy with the ink spot type of mask. Rorschach, yeah. He was based on the Punisher, right? Like, I mean, the way,
in some ways. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. If you think about it, he walked around with a gun. He took justice in his own hands.
And he even wrote a war journal a lot like the Punisher did as well, even though the Punisher was a Marvel character.
Exactly. Very similar. Yeah. And oddly enough, in Doomsday Clock, the first issue, I have a variant lenticular variant that has a Rorschach on it, which is holographic.
Okay.
And but spoilers: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip ahead. Okay, Rorschach died at the very end of the original Watchmen series.
Right. Yeah.
So somebody comes out as the new Rorschach in this series. So it's weird. So it's all about trying to figure out who this person is and where they come from and how do they come to be.
Okay.
And now he's involved in this new world. And when is Dr. Manhattan coming out and everything else? So and there's a lot of hate going on. I only perused through the actual comic. I didn't get to actually sit and read completely, but it's making me want more.
Okay.
And honestly, to me, I'm not a DC person.
Yeah.
The last thing I read was the last Batman big series that was out.
Yeah.
And that was interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
And a lot of what's going on now with the DC universe is they're getting a little bit more vicious and a little bit strong and angry, which is awesome. But to me, it's like I'm still a Marvel kid. I'm sorry. I'm a Marvel kid. I'll live and breathe a Marvel kid. I want my X-Men. I want my Spider-Man. I want my Hulk. And I'm glad that the Hulk got to be comedic in the new Thor Ragnarok movie.
Okay.
So,
good.
But I think this was awesome. I can't thank you anymore, Avelino. Thank you, Av, for calling in.
Can we just discuss one last thing before I leave?
Sure.
And just one last thing. I just wanted to spend a couple minutes just kind of discussing what the Punisher meant to me when I was really heavy into comics, because he was actually one of my favorite comic books. This would have been my teen years, I guess, back in the 80s. And I love the Punisher. The reason why I liked him so much was back then he was one of the few heroes or anti-heroes that actually crossed that line into, creating a terminal ending to a lot of his foes, unlike Spider-Man, unlike Daredevil. And I don't know, for some reason that kind of clicked in me. I don't know what it was, but there was something about the 80s. How old are you, by the way, Mark? If you don't mind my asking.
I'm 45.
Okay, I'm 52, so I'm 7 years your elder. And so for me, the 80s was, I was in high school and then in college at that time. And the 80s was really, the late 70s and 80s was characterized by really high crime rates in a lot of major cities. And I grew up just outside of New York, and you grew up in New York City yourself, so you probably know what I'm talking about. But shows like The Equalizer and movies like The Warriors, which showed just rampant crime and gangs, and were popular because that was what I guess America kind of saw, as far as runaway crime goes. And the reason why The Equalizer was popular was because it kind of gave people a way to fight back and to protect themselves against, what they thought were vicious criminals. And The Punisher was one of those heroes as well. And what I liked about him was not only would he stand up for the little man and also take it one step further in killing his foes, but also he was a very honorable character in the comics, and he is a very honorable person in the Netflix series too. Sure, in the comics he got a little cartoony and two-dimensional, but he was that kind of person that he knew his virtues. He didn't mess around with drugs, for example. He didn't mess around with women. He didn't have those kind of weaknesses that we see in some of the other heroes. He was like a samurai warrior gone PTSD, and I think that's one of the things that really clicked in me back in my youth. I was really a lot into martial arts and into, kind of like following the ways of Bushido and stuff like that, and so that's what I really liked about the Punisher as well. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of put that out and to why that I was so excited when the Netflix Punisher series came out.
Yeah, it's a unique character, honestly.
Yeah.
Not that any of all Marvel characters are not unique, but they are.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like that was taken out of the, what was created through Netflix, and over the past, wow, that came out in 1974.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What, 43 years ago?
43 years ago. Yeah, almost as old as you are, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So, honestly, it's like, they try to create characters that are more human-based.
Yeah.
Honestly, with the Punisher when it first came out, wasn't meant to be that. It was meant to be just another an antagonist, somebody to poke at the superheroes, and then eventually, by the mid '80s, I think.
Yeah,
started
exactly.
Becoming that more, it's like Punisher War Journal came out in the '90s and stuff like that, late '80s, early '90s, and then he became a presence unto its own, and where it made sense. Yeah. Through the act of adversity, it's like, oh, this is worse than me. I got to go against that. So that's my feeling. It's like, they created characters that were more of heart. I'm not saying that DC doesn't. Marvel tends to do that. There's a lot of things. You could look at Tony Stark. He was a drunk. Had dealt with his issues. You had Bruce Banner dealt with his anger issues. You had
Spider-Man with his growing pains.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's so many you could pick from different things.
Yep.
That it's like the Fantastic Four in itself. It's like, wow. It's like each individual character has its own. DC deals with that too, because if you look at Batman, he's pretty much DC's Tony Stark.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's Iron
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah.
And it's like Wonder Woman, she's just the god, but she goes through the idea of like, I'm a god, but I have to deal with human issues. And then same thing with Superman. There are a bunch of things, and then you got Hal Jordan. The list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
But the thing is that with Marvel, it seemed to be a little bit more realistic.
Yeah,
They
more raw.
Put it down to the person. It's now with Black Panther, which I'm looking forward to seeing. You got T'Challa and what he's going through.
Yeah.
And he has to lead a bunch of people and everything else after his father had passed away, and then he's got these newfound friends, and he wants to protect the world, but he also has to protect those people that, are looked at differently in other sites. So that's another story unto itself, based on the movies.
Well, I really appreciate you bring me on this first episode. I had a lot of fun.
Not a problem, man. I really appreciate you actually stepping up and doing this. The original idea was me to do it alone and just talk smack and just say how I feel about the show, and with that, it becomes one-sided. And
exactly.
Honestly, it's always best to talk to another person.
Yes.
Get their viewpoint. If you come mutual, great. If you don't, it's two different ideas. And I've heard other podcasts where it's like all it is negative, negative, negative. And honestly, there's got to be a negative and a positive.
Yeah.
Or if anything, two positives.
Yeah.
It can't be two negatives, because if you're constantly negative, then that's the rest of the world, and we don't want that.
Exactly. All right, dude. Well, I had a lot of fun. I appreciate it. So,
no
I wish you luck with the rest of the episodes, and I'll be popping in as well in the future too. So, thank you.
All right, no problem, and thank you. And this was Panels to Pixels, Episode 1, and I hope you all continue to listen. And thank you, Avelino.
You're welcome.
And we're going to say goodnight.
All right. Take care. Have a good one. All right, good night.